Got it in my hand. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the regular session of the South Kingstown Town Council, 7:30 p.m., Monday, September 14th, 2015. Our first order of business, as always, is the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Please rise and join me. Thank you. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Council President Collins.
Here.
Council Vice President Haley.
Here.
Councilwoman Clow.
Here.
Councilman Veely.
Here.
All members present.
Item 4 on our agenda tonight is the approval of minutes of previous meetings. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes, item 4A, B, and C.
I second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. Item 5 on our agenda is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve the items included in the consent agenda.
I second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously as well. Item 6 on our agenda tonight, under licenses, 6A, is a resolution granting a Class F 19-hour beverage license to Easter Seals, Rhode Island, 213 Robinson Street, Wakefield, for an event to be held on Sunday, November 22nd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. under a tent in the parking lot at 456 Main Street in conjunction with the Muse Tavern Gear and Beer 6.9K Road Race. The application is by Jennifer Martin of the Easter Seals of Rhode Island. Is Jennifer here? Please come forward.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome, yes. And just state your name for the record and...
Jennifer Martin, Easter Seals, Rhode Island. I live in Wakefield, too.
Great. So tell us about the event.
Okay. It's November 22nd. We're hoping to have about 2,000 runners at the event, give or take a couple hundred. The event is being held for Easter Seals. We provide early intervention services in a pediatric outpatient program on Robinson Street. So it's 16th year they've been doing the event and 5th year for us. So.
Fantastic organization.
Thank you.
What percentage of your revenues come from this event? How much do you really?
Last year it was about 37,000 for us. The year before was 40. So hoping to get around there again this year.
Are you still accepting registrations? How do people do
Yes,
that?
actually registration just started. You can sign up on either the Muse website or Easter Seals Rhode Island website, all up until the day before the event. So,
Great.
and you can sign up the day of the event too if you'd like. So it just costs a little bit more.
Okay, fantastic. Any other questions on this license? Great. Well, I would welcome a motion on this one.
Motion to approve agenda item 6A.
Second.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Good
luck.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Carries unanimously. Item 6C is a resolution granting a Class F1 19-hour beverage license to the Southern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce of 230 Old Tower Hill Road, Wakefield, for the Taste of Southern Rhode Island charity wine and food event to be held on Thursday, October 22nd, from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Peacedale Mill Complex. That's at 1425 Kingstown Road. It's contingent upon a firefighter detail on site, and the application is by Richard Pike.
My name is Richard Pike, and I'm here representing the Southern Rhode Island Chamber. And this is an event that we've had now for the past 3 years. This is the 4th year. October 22nd, we'll have, right now we have 30 vendors signed up. It's going to be a huge event for us for a fundraiser. There'll be fabulous raffle prizes that was actually sold out last year. We had people the last couple of weeks trying to buy tickets, and we were sold out. So I would encourage people, if they want to attend. All the great restaurants in the area are going to be there, plus we have Sons of Liberty, Sweeney's Liquors, Jaber's Liquors, so there'll be plenty of food and drink to sample. It'll be a great time. I encourage all of you to attend. So,
What is the cost of the tickets?
I'm sorry?
The cost of the tickets?
They're $40 in advance, $45 at the door, or you can buy 10 and bring all your friends for $350. So,
Great.
I can attest to how delicious all the food is, definitely worthwhile. Any questions on this license? All right, well, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve item number 6C.
Second?
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I will recuse because of my affiliation with the Chamber. I'm the Chamber's treasurer, so that there's no appearance that I will recuse this vote.
All right, and with that, the motion will carry 3-0 with one recusal. Congratulations.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item D is a resolution granting a holiday sales license to DEG LLC, doing business as Wakefield Books, 160 Old Tower Hill Road, Wakefield. Application by Robert Ryan of Providence.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Just state your name for the record, even though I just said it.
Okay, it's Robert Ryan. Basically, the bookstore went independent in 2011 after Walden Books went out of business. It was owned by the mall ownership up until June of this year when I became owner.
Any questions for Robert? All right, well then I would,
I make a motion to approve item number 6D.
Thank you.
Second?
so moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. And item 7 now on our agenda is a public hearing. And this is a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and obtaining citizens' views on filing the program year 2015 Small Cities Community Development Block Grant application. The following activities are proposed for inclusion in that application. And there's a local priority list on your agenda with 9 separate organizations. Do I have to read out that list at all? No. Steve, you can read through that list for us.
Yeah, this is the second of 2 public hearings that are required under the federal program for community development block grant funding. The first hearing was held on August 24th. At that time, we solicited organizations to be able to submit proposals to the town for inclusion in the grant application for the 2015 program year. The Community Development Block Grant really looks to identify 4 specific issues. One is to provide support for low and moderate income families and individuals. 2, to provide affordable housing opportunities. 3, employment opportunities. And 4, community facilities that will assist those individuals of low and moderate income families or individuals. We received 9 applications. The applications range from the Johnny Cake Center that was requesting funds to augment the amount of food that they purchase on a yearly basis. They've also noted that they're providing in excess of 200,000 meals in the past year, and that they've budgeted $100,000 and they're looking for an additional $20,000 to move forward. Welcome House has 2 proposals. One is for winterizing and dealing with code issues associated with several of the 31 tenements that they own in the community and maintain, and they're also looking for operational supports. The Domestic Violence Resource Center of South County has made a novel proposal this year where they're asking for support of each of the different communities that have client base that they service, and based on the proportionate share, that's why they came up with the 6849 number. For a first time, we received an application from the South County Hospital, who currently has a capital campaign ongoing for the establishment of a cancer care program. As noted in the application filing, certainly there will be low and moderate income individuals that will be served through this program should it come to fruition, and they're asking for the $100,000 in program support to assist in getting that program moving. Education Exchange is a program which we've seen for the last several years. They provide a great deal of services in the adult education, testing and job readiness programming. Community Action is looking for $10,000 to deal with fire safety code renovations on their facility on Kingstown Road. Easter Seals is looking for a contribution of $30,000. That program has early intervention therapies for children with disabilities or special needs, as well as outpatient programs that serve the target group that will be addressed through community development. And Cornerstone is an adult day services program that operates out of town that is looking for supports. They've submitted requests in the last several years. After review of the applications, we've attempted to provide a general prioritization. I would indicate that while we can apply for up to $250,000, last year's funding was at $250,000 and we received about $135,000. I think in closing, I'd note that we've been a participant in CDBG since 1985. In that time, there's probably about $4.9 million that's come into the community, a major portion of it for housing rehabilitation. It's noted that we do not have housing rehab money that's programmed into the grant for the period 15 year. The reason why is that those dollars will be treated from a separate fund so that we don't need to request them as part of the $250,000 that we're eligible for, and that we can take them from a state set-aside. Right now, there's about $48,000 that's still remaining in our rehab program. Once that's paid down, we will then look for renewing funding support through the state set-aside. I'd be glad to answer any questions that the public or the council may have relative to the filing of the application or the submittal of the applications for consideration.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the council? Are there any comments from the public regarding item 7 on the agenda tonight? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the CDBG application.
You need to
we
close the hearing
sorry.
first?
Close the public hearing.
I make a
Motion.
motion that we close the public hearing relative to item 7 on the agenda.
Second.
So moved. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
And now I would entertain
I
that.
make a motion to approve item number 7A.
Second?
So moved. All in favor? Say aye.
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 And that motion carries unanimously. I apologize for getting ahead of myself. Item 8, under communications, letter B, is a communication dated August 28th, 2015, from Holly Higgins-Gilmore regarding the development of the South County Country Club, now known as the South Shore Country Club. It's been received and placed on file, and the town council further directs us. What do we do?
Holly speak, I think she's here.
Yes. Holly, would you like to come forward?
You're ready for me. Good evening. Thank you for having me back. So I know that everyone's aware of the country club by this point. We're basically here tonight to revisit the development. Myself and Vicki Cummings, a neighbor that lives on Gravelly Hill, were here on the 24th to talk about this. We now return with many other concerned residents. If you are here could you please raise your hand just to show a little bit of support? So people are concerned, people want answers. I just want to make it understood, we are not here to try to stop this development. We understand that there have been permits put in place. There's been legal battles through and through. We are very aware of this. However, our concern is we want to make sure everything is done correctly. We want to make sure it's done to where it's not going to impact our life. We all have lived in this neighborhood for a while. We pay our taxes. Very happy. We love where we live. Traffic is an issue, and the environment is an issue for us. Like I said last time we were here, no one was notified in the area. We found out by a massive bulldozer taking away 285 acres. That's how we found out. Shocking, yes. So people are upset about it. We've canvassed the neighborhood. I don't think I came across one person that knew about it. So we know this. Traffic study in 1998, we went over that last time I was here, 17 years ago. Unacceptable. I know that everyone in this room is aware of the Larchwood and what happened with that. The neighbor was not notified. Whole nother story, but yet the same vein. It's in the same. Sorry. So two major concerns, traffic study 17 years ago. This is an extension of the Warden's Pond, Tuckertown Village, even though it says it has its own name. That's fantastic. However, in the plan, it talks about how people in the Tuckertown Village will have access to this. It's their clubhouse, which is going to be a very big clubhouse. There's been concerns, questions about, is the public going to have access to this clubhouse? Are there going to be weddings there? The granddaughter, grandson of somebody who lives in this development, do they have their wedding there? Is there alcohol allowed? Who's going to patrol the drunk driving coming up and down those roads after this? That's a big, big concern for people in this community. The possibility, doing the math, there's a possibility of 1,300 or 1,030 vehicles leaving and entering the Gravelly Hill Shannock entrance. That's once a day. That's a lot of traffic for these roads that have no shoulders. If someone's walking their dog, someone's taking their kids on a walk, biking, there's nowhere to go when you have two big trucks passing, nowhere to go. So that's a big concern for us. Gravelly and Shannock are proposed as the main entrance to this development. If it is going to be an extension of the Tuckertown Village, that's great. We welcome our neighbors. We're happy to have these neighbors. However, if there's already an entrance on Warden's Pond, which is a bigger road, it's a wider road, there's less traffic, why can't the main entrance be put up to Warden's Pond if it's all one community? I've spoken with two people from the fire district to see if there are any sort of procedures on the books that say that there has to be two entrances or exits to a community like this. There are not. There's nothing on the books. I actually spoke with a fire marshal who said that there are many places in South Kingstown where this occurs. As long as an engine can turn around, it's acceptable. There's no reason why our community has to be disrupted. Minutes from 2007, when Ms. Fiore and Mr. Landry, we have these minutes, they said that our community at Shannock and Gravelly is going to be majorly disrupted. We have those minutes. We'd be happy to show those to you from the horse's mouth. So this isn't something where, oh, it's just going to be traffic here and there. And, they're going to do it in 5 different phases. As we learned today. This is what we learned today. There's no information to the public about this. The thing is, you put it in 5 different phases. Great, that takes 10 years. That's going to be 10 years of traffic and trucks all along these roads. That's not fair. It's not fair. We also, along with this, we have a petition here. 75 people are concerned and they're angry and we want answers. Well, this is yours. This is a copy. We have the other copy at home. I'd like to present that to you later on. Another thing, water. Golf courses use a lot of chemicals. Runoff is huge. Septic for these places. There's going to be 1 septic per 2 homes, 285 homes. First of all, with the runoff from the golf courses, where does that stuff go? Where does it go? It runs off into our wells. Our wells are pristine right now. We had our water tested in 2011 when we bought our house. We have the best water, he said, in the state. So our question to you, who is going to be held responsible when our wells are contaminated? Who? Because once the damage is done, it's done. And in these plans, from what the public can see, there's nothing that says anything about that. It's the flooding that happened in 2009, the area where this main entrance is, people are telling us, the Trembleys who live at 815 or 805 Gravelly, he said he had water in his basement for a month. Where is that water going to go? It's going to come down the glacial slope that Shannock is on, and it's going to go into our wells. People are upset, and we need answers. Because the problem is, when it does happen, who do we come to that's held responsible? This whole thing needs to be reassessed. We're asking that you reevaluate it. We're asking that the town council, the planning board, reevaluate and look at this again and reopen a discussion, because 2007, because of tolling laws that were passed in 2009, you have infinite amount of years to build because of big money, and someone who was vice president of the building commission helped pass it through the General Assembly. That's Rhode Island politics, as we talked about, at its finest. So the whole thing stinks of backdoor everything. It's just, it needs to be reevaluated, and that's what we're asking. We are requesting that the board, the planning commission, the zoning board, whoever needs to be involved, the owners of Invine LLC, sit down with the members of this community and talk to us and find out a way that we can make this harmonious and we can welcome our neighbors and that we are not affected how it looks like we're going to be. That's my piece. Vicki, if you'd like to speak.
Good evening. My name is Vicki Cummings, and I am a resident of 479 Gravelly Hill Road, South Kingstown. My day started this morning to the recent all too familiar sound of an earth mover rather than the singing birds I'm used to hearing. Therefore, I am here again this evening to appeal to the council to review the design of the South County Country Club project, but I see from tonight's agenda it's now known as South Shore Country Club, and to provide and facilitate a public forum to discuss this development with the developers of the project, town officials, and the residents of Gravelly Hill Road, Shannock Road, and surrounding areas of our community. I stand with other residents here this evening and of those who signed a petition to request this dialogue to ensure that our voices are heard and our concerns over public safety, the health of our community members, and that of our ecosystem have truly been considered openly and honestly examined. As tax-paying residents, it is our right to understand the impact of such a large-scale development in our neighborhood. We have many unanswered questions with spotty and inconsistent meeting notes strewn about at Town Hall. As I canvassed this community, I heard about rumors, backroom deals, and about who holds power and money in the politics of our town and state. It boils down to this. Very few really know what has transpired over almost 2 decades now, and no one is aware, or very few are aware, of what is currently transpiring. We, the citizens who have worked hard to purchase, build, and maintain our homes, deserve better and demand more. We are asking the town for a timeline of events, a list of permits issued, and prior documentation needed to indicate that due diligence was done for all aspects of the project, and that the community impacts of said project were thoroughly reviewed with appropriate agencies as their independent investigations, discoveries, and input were considered. As homeowners, we are required to acquire certain permits and documentation prior to making improvements and/or changes to our properties, and to conspicuously display those permits on the premises. Does it not make sense, then, that a development and/or a corporation be held to similar standards? With all due respect, I am not here to stop this development. I seek only to be assured that due process was abided by elected officials and staff of this town, and that we, the current citizenry, and our well-being and safety were in fact regarded at each and every step as this project evolved into the execution going on today within our established community. I wish to close my remarks with this. My 7-year-old grandson visited us this weekend. As we drove by the entrance to the South County, now South Shore Country Club, he looked at it and said, "Nana, what is that? Where have all the trees gone? What about the wildlife?" I briefly described the project to him in words that he could understand. His next question, however, was, "Don't they know we need trees for oxygen? Trees to hold water in the ground for drinking? Habitats for animals?" I said, "I would hope so, Samuel." He simply turned to me and said, "This is tragic and very sad." Out of the mouths of babes, our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you.
So basically, our questions tonight are, who will be held responsible? We would like to know how this is reevaluated, who's going to reevaluate it. 2007 is a long time ago. Since the flood in 2009, landscape has changed. The roads have changed. The Rathskeller has changed. There's been other developments put in. Right now, there are 2 developments on Shannock over in the Charlestown line that are also going to increase traffic. So I'm here tonight to open up a dialogue with you, if we could have one. Concerned citizens are here. So those are some questions that we'd like answered.
All right, thank you. As you probably, as you know, you cited the tolling law. We've received a memo on that from our solicitor. I think, and as you probably know, none of us were serving on the council as these decisions were made, and I don't know what the composition of the planning board was like when this was happening either. I can say that we have the same planning department, same town officials, and I trust and respect them very much. I doubt very highly that there were any type of underhanded dealings that went into this decision. And our hands are tied in a way. We don't have the power to compel this developer to come and have a community conversation with you. I would advise that to them if there are any representatives from them in this room or, catching this on TV or they're going to hear about it. I think it's always a good idea to be good neighbors with people. And like I said at the last meeting, I understand where you're coming from. If this was happening in my backyard, I would feel exactly the same way.
With all due respect, it is happening in your backyard because you are our elected official. And the thing is, the planning board, I'm not sure who these people are. I know the names. I don't know who they are. 2007, I understand the law was passed. The law was passed with many people that had a hand in this. The owner of the land at that time went up to the General Assembly. It's just... The thing is, it's just, no one was notified. Not one person on this list knew about this. There are 75 people on this petition. Not one person that we talked to knew anything about this. No notification. No notification. The Larchwood, it says right here in the Independent, was not passed because one neighbor did not know about this. There are over 200 homes in our area. No one was notified. If that's how the town planning board, zoning board, council wants to run this town, I think we're in for a world of hurt. And I understand none of you were on the council at the time, and it's not that we're unloading on you, but we're asking you for answers because people are angry, and it's not okay. It's disrupting our lives, and it's disrupting our environment where we live.
Can I ask, have you tried to talk to the builder, the contractor of
No.
this?
I do not know him personally. I know nothing about him. I know his name, and that is it. That's why I'm here tonight, because I don't feel like me as a citizen should have to facilitate something between a multi-millionaire builder that, what's his use for me? I'm here to get help from people that have been elected by all of these people here. That's why we're here. I would love to sit down and talk to the owner of Envine LLC. and I think everybody else would too. Like I said, we welcome this neighborhood. Great, 55 and over, fantastic. I think, if it's going to be a well-run community, great. However, it needs to not impact this neighborhood. It's basically, our main concern is traffic. Make the entrance at the entrance of Warden's Pond. The thing is, it's a 55 and over community. Just coming from a personal level, I'm 41 years old. I plan on living in my home until I go into a retirement community. The people that are in this Warden's Pond Village, they may be there for 5, 10, 15 years at the most. So what about the people who plan on living in these homes at Gravelly and Shannock? So we have to take the impact as opposed to people that are part of the community that's already there. It's a major concern. And the roads cannot handle it. Gravelly Hill is a train wreck. There are no places for people to walk, run, and bike if there are 2 cars passing at the same time. Shannock is a little bit better because they've paved it, but still, it's a windy area and it's not safe. We have 2 children. One of my kids just started kindergarten this year. He gets on and off the bus twice a day. Multiple people here have children that do the same thing. Gravelly Hill and Shannock is a thoroughfare for school buses. Who's going to answer to that? Who's going to answer to us when one of our children are hurt? Who's going to answer to us when our property is damaged? And who's going to answer to us when our water is compromised? You cannot go back with that. I've been on the phone with the DEM scientist who deals with water. He said that the septic systems need to be reviewed. That could be a major issue with our water. We want answers. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to make a stink. I'm here to get answers because we're all taxpayers and we all love our homes and we want to stay there. But as of right now, it's like we're being disregarded because of big money.
I don't know that it's big money as much as a state ruling that the town can't override a state ruling.
They can't, but it's in our town. It's in South Kingstown. It's not in Johnson. It's not in Providence. It's here. We're just asking that they reevaluate, that the planning board reevaluate this, sit down with a group of us and talk it through. Let's make it so everybody's happy. Traffic, water. There's ways for golf courses to be made especially green, and when I mean green is environmentally conscious. There are ways. Right now, all it says in the plan is that they have to hire a pesticides or a specialist for that. Say they live in Connecticut, what do they care what happens to our water?
I think our town solicitor may have something to add.
I need to respond to a few things to set the record straight. First of all, and I know it obviously wasn't anyone in this room, but when this project first came to the town, all the abutters who had to be given notice back in '98, a long time ago, were in fact given notice. And there was a lot of give and take at the time because the developer originally came in with a proposal for 443 units. The board ultimately approved 285. That went up to 303. The reality is, as of today, it's 303. Those abutters who were notified actually did bring suit in 2007 to try to stop or change the project. The court ultimately ruled on behalf of the developer. That brought us to 2009. As we all know, because of the recession that hit in 2008, the General Assembly decided that all the one-year time periods from which development had to begin was extended, and then it got extended again, so that right now the tolling statute extends until June of 2016, but the reality is they've already begun, so the tolling doesn't apply anymore. So there was a reason for the General Assembly to do what it did because of the economic state back in '08 and '09 when they decided to extend those tolling periods. There was clearly abutters who were not happy with the situation back then. They clearly exercised their rights to go to court. The court decided the way it did. The developer was restricted in the number of units it could put up. The problem the town has now is because of the tolling that extended this approval out for so many years, is that it does not have the ability to force the developer to come back to reevaluate the plans. The plans that were approved are the ones going forward. Now, that doesn't mean there's no oversight. Obviously, they still have to get all their septic designs from DEM. They still have to get building permits from the town. They still have to comply with all the rules and regulations that any contractor or builder, or even single homeowner would have to comply with as they develop the project. However, what cannot be done is we cannot do as you suggest and say, okay, because times have changed, because conditions have changed, because other developments are going on Shannick Road, we're going to relook at this project. Now, I think Rachel...
Can I ask you something? Do you think, not to interrupt you, but do you think it's acceptable that no one was notified within the past 9 years? On a personal level, do you think that that's acceptable?
Do I think what the General Assembly did was right or not right when back in '09 it kept extending these time periods? That's a judgment call from anyone based upon how sick the economy was. The reality is, in any project, whether it was back in '98 or whether it's a new project coming today, there are requirements at the time that the developer or homeowner files the application for abutters to receive notice. At the time this was approved, those abutters did get notice. And again, the fact that the project got cut back, the fact that there was a lawsuit, proved at the time that that type of back and forth was going on. Because of the tolling, though, there's nothing that could, the town could not go back and start re-notifying people.
The town was asked by Jim O'Neill to reopen it to the public, and the planning or zoning board, or both, said no. So there was an opportunity, and now we're asking for another opportunity. So there is a way.
I don't know the way then, and we've done a
I
lot
do
of-
have the minutes to that meeting if we do need to present that, but it was requested.
And just so you know, that the memo that the Solicitor's Office prepared with the timelines and all the explanations is certainly a public document. It's several pages long with exhibits. It's available for the public. You can review it. You can look at it. We worked very hard between our office and the planning department. We did not leave a stone unturned. We worked very, very hard to be sure that all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. We could find no issue with anything that happened from '98 through 2015, at least in terms of the process. I totally hear and understand that, well, because this thing's been sitting for so long, and we've since moved in, or now all of a sudden it's happening, why didn't we know about it? I think the council understands that. Staff certainly understands that. I'm just telling you that we're constrained by what the law did in this case, and that's why we're here today. But that doesn't mean, as Rachel mentioned, that you can't sit down with your neighbors, so to speak, and talk to them about your concerns. That can be done. We, as a government, though, cannot compel them to do that. That's what you need.
I'm not asking you to compel them. I'm asking you to go to them and the planning board to maybe have a conversation and open up a dialogue with them about what we can do to make everybody in this situation happy. Like I said, we're not trying to stop this, but 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, it's all different now. It's whatever the law says, I understand you have to follow that. However, the traffic study in 1998, 17 years ago, that right there is, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So-
I think it was updated in 2006 when we did our research.
Right, and there's been way more houses, way more traffic.
I understand 2006 was still a long time ago, but they did what they had to do at the time. If it weren't for if that approval went through the normal process without the tolling, they would have had to begin construction within 1 year of that time frame. Within 1 year, they would have begun all of this development. It's only because of the tolling statute that it kept getting extended to 2011, to 2013, and now to 2016.
Right, and who does that benefit, the tolling law? That doesn't benefit anybody except the builder. That is it. No one in here is getting anything from that except for the builder. One family. Unacceptable.
And this council would have and I've been working here for a minute, this council would have never adopted such a tolling law. The state adopted one which overrode every single city in town, and that's what the General Assembly did. And again, they did it because of the economic crisis we were in.
The economic crisis for the builder. What about the economic crisis and the water and the economic crisis that's going to be bestowed on the town and anybody else in their way when our water is destroyed? What about that? If you can't do anything, you can't, you won't, whatever. The thing is, we want answers. We want answers about who's going to be held responsible. That's a big concern, because I can tell you one thing here. If our water is destroyed, if our wells are compromised, this golf course, are they going to pull off town water for the golf course? Or is that going to come out of the well? Because they're going to be on town water for the units, but what about that golf course? Because right now, when we're in a drought situation, our well water, our pressure goes down. The people that are on Gravelly right now, the pressure that they're going to experience, it's going to go down exponentially. What do I tell them? What does the town tell them?
I can just tell you in general that with regard to water, every property owner has the right to extract the water from under their property, and, you know.
Water supply
it-
from United,
Okay, so Steve is pointing out they're going to be on a public water supply. They're not going to be
The
extracting.
golf courses? The golf course is going to pull off public water?
I don't know if the golf course is going to have that or not, but they're not going to be drawing water from
Nope.
houses.
Nope, correct. I know that. We're aware of that. Most golf courses, if you look, any golf course, you can just pull it up on the internet. Most 9-hole golf courses take at least 4 million gallons of water a year. I don't think our aquifer can handle that. So where are the answers there? I understand you don't have the answers tonight, but that's not what we're here for, is answers tonight. We're asking that you create another time that we can have a meeting with planning board, zoning board, possibly the owners of the proposed development. That's all we're asking. And you know what? If it's a shot in the dark, but maybe the person who is developing this, we want to have a harmonious, like I said, community, and we want to be able to not have any sort of angst towards developers, town, whatever. Figure out a way that everybody can be happy. You know, give and take. Traffic, send it out the other way. That's going to make a lot of people happy.
I think, except for the other people where you're sending it to. You know, if you say the only entrance can be on Warden's Pond, I don't think the people on Warden's Pond are going to love that any more than you do.
No, of course they're not.
so-
Absolutely. But the last time that it was discussed in one of the meetings, we have the minutes from that too. Ms. Fiore stated the people of Gravelly Hill Road and Shannock Road are going to be majorly impacted. And then there was another excerpt from Mr. Landry that stated, well, they're not here tonight. Well, we're here tonight. So we're here now. We didn't have that chance back then. And it's a development that people have the choice to move in and out of.
Right.
We have the choice to move out of our homes, but we're in it for the long haul. We're there for a long time. So is it just for us? You know, we don't have a say?
I think certainly opening up a dialogue with the developer would be a
Absolutely.
great place to start. Anything we can do to help you with that dialogue, that's great.
That's what we're suggesting.
I don't know that putting it before a planning or zoning board when they can't do anything about this project. I think really it's about the neighborhood communication with the new builder, because now you're all neighbors, and that's my neck of the woods as well. I love that area. I remember Tuckertown Village when it was being built, and the impact that had on Warden's Pond. It's part of the fabric of that area now, and is a wonderful place. I think it can be done, hopefully, where the whole neighborhood can come to some level of happiness, hopefully.
So who's going to take care of those roads? Are there going to be sidewalks put in, or are they going to widen the road onto people's properties? Where do you go with that? You know, that's another thing, off this massive traffic influx. Where are we going to put the cars? Where people walking their dogs, where are they going to go when there's traffic nonstop?
Well, I think ideally, those are questions that maybe we could get some answers to if you could get this hypothetical meeting arranged. I think, Rachel, I'm sure anybody up here would be happy to try and facilitate that meeting happening. Again, we can't compel it. Steve, did you want to add something?
I was going to say that as a member of the Shannon Road community, and the first house that was built on Shannon Road, outside of Joe Audio's house, at the corner, I've certainly seen changes since 1977. I have no difficulty inviting the developer to a public meeting. But I think that what's going to be had here is that we can't treat people as if they're guilty before they're proven. And we need to give people an opportunity to be able to speak. I will invite the developer to a public session, and he can advise as to what his development proposal is, what his plans are doing, and answer specific questions as to where the water is going to come from or what impact it's going to have. But at the same time, as Mike was indicated, we're not going to be able to change that. Candidly, I take certain exceptions to the suggestion that we're wanting things done in this town. I've worked here 40 years, and I have never seen that in this town, and I've never done it in the future. And I take certain exception. If we're going to work together as a community, we need to have respect for one another.
I agree with that. And also, if we're going to have that respect, people need to be notified. It can't be one-sided.
Let's understand something else. Under zoning, whenever a land use plan is going to be done, the notification is within 200 feet of the property. When anybody moves into a community and there's 300 acres of land that have a 75-foot or 50-foot access going into that 300 feet, I would assume that there were questions that would be asked of people. That's why when we had the development discussion back in '77, and the appeal was taken in 2007, it was because people had the same questions that you're asking now. And the questions were asked, and the appeal was taken to court. And it was sustained in court. So it's not a case where town officials, either then or now, are trying to put something through because of big money. That's not the issue here. Residential development doesn't pay a lot of money in taxes versus services that it provides. We're working with the same things that you're working with. Certainly, I've seen a change on Shannon Road since 1977 with the number of cars that traverse that road on a daily basis. There's over 200 houses, or approximately 200 houses. Gravelly Hill in 1977 was a cot path that went through and it wasn't paved. So there's always going to be changes in a community. What we need to do is to invite the developer in. I can't tell you tonight that that developer will come forward and want to discuss his plans in a public meeting. I can tell you he's not going to change his plans, but he can at least be able to answer some of the specific questions that you may have. But when you start suggesting that water quality is going to change because of the development that's going to occur there, that 300 acres could be developed to single household units as well at any time. The only way we're going to prevent that is buying property.
Okay, I just want to make something clear, too. I wasn't accusing anybody on the board or anybody on the council of any sort of backdoor issues here. I was talking about tolling laws and who was vice president at the time of the building commission. So,
Clear that we're not suggesting that anybody on past councils or planning boards or staff has done anything underhanded. They said it,
I never stated that, sir.
and candidly, I don't like it.
Okay, that's fine, and I would like you to know that that's not what I was suggesting, nor did I say anything of the sort.
Thank you again for bringing this issue for our attention. I'm going to ask that people who want to speak on this issue raise their concerns in the comments from concerned citizens so we can move along with the agenda.
Are you saying I can't speak?
You'll be able to speak just probably in a few minutes.
This was a specific agenda item that was to be addressed with Holly, who came forward, but the actual time for citizens to speak would be, we've set aside some time for that in the agenda, so it would be under the tab of comments from interested citizens, and that's when we welcome everybody's feedback.
Thank you.
I just want to make a little extended invitation to provide a forum if the development needs unfold and have that testimony. And I will try to, I will invite planning board, other planning board members to attend as well as council. If in fact there's a reluctance on the part of the developer, then I won't be able to set up that meeting. But I will, on behalf of the community, ask for that on behalf of the council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, Steve. I think, again, our town staff and boards just work tirelessly, and we really, in South Kingstown, have the best of the best. We really do. We have the best-run town because of the people here in this town hall, serving on our boards. And I wouldn't even say that the state would have anticipated this. I think they were trying to do the right thing too, because they're trying to get the economy back on track. Hindsight's 20/20. I don't think they were malicious in doing it. I think they wanted to get the economy back going as fast as it could. And to the builders, that is their livelihood. So, in a perfect world, this wouldn't have happened, but here it is, and now we have to go forward. So hopefully, if we can get a conversation going between you and the builder, at least that would put some of your fears at rest. That's all. Right, and that's reasonable.
It's not about whether it's right or wrong or who's going to build where.
Right.
That's not even on our agenda at all.
Certainly reasonable. But again, as Steve said, we can't force him to come here and have that discussion. But I would imagine wanting to, coming in, doing this development, I don't think any developer wants to come in and have an angry neighborhood. That's just not their intention.
And the neighbors don't want to be angry.
Right.
Great. So, do I hear a motion perhaps to,
I make a motion that item 8B, the communication from Holly Higgins Gilmore, be placed on file until we hear back from Steve or other pertinent staff members to try to negotiate a meeting time where everybody can get together.
I second that.
so moved. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Item 8D is a communication dated September 3rd, 2015, from Larry Fish, Chairman of the Economic Development Committee, inviting council members to a public presentation of the results of their survey of business and not-for-profit organizations. It's on September 21st, 2015, at 7 p.m., and it's been placed on file. What do we want to do with that? I guess we just...
The only thing that I saw with this, I have no problem, I'm happy to meet with the Economic Development Committee, but one of the things, and I don't know if anybody has heard back from the town, we had put out there to possibly have a meeting with the school committee on that same night, so I don't know if we've heard anything back from the school committee about the 21st, but obviously if we have, we can't have two meetings at the same time.
That meeting on the 21st with the school committee was never confirmed. They did not get back to my office to say that they would meet on that evening.
This would not be a joint meeting that they're requesting, is it? No, this is just
They're
a
just doing a
presentation.
presentation.
And I imagine members of the public are also invited to this presentation. So, put that on your calendars, folks. It's a week from tonight.
So do we need to make a motion to,
Put it on
I make a motion to place on file item number 4D.
Second.
8. There you go, 8D. 8D.
I second that.
So moved.
We'll encourage other counselors to attend. I think it'll be an interesting
Yeah.
presentation, and I thank them for the invite.
Well, our calendar is cleared up. All right. All in
Could I-
favor, say,
One comment on item C, which was on the consent agenda. I do see that there are folks here from Healthy Places by Design. I'm not sure if you want to bring that forward at this point, or whether you want to bring them forward under comments.
how about we pass this item and then we can talk about it?
Sure.
So there's a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor of,
Placing it on.
putting it on file? Say aye.
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 All right, that motion carries unanimously. Do we want to go back to item 8C?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we've already passed it.
I'm not sure if there's anybody that wants to speak specifically to the issues, Abel.
And if someone's going to speak, here's what you need to do. So move to take the item off the consent agenda so you can then discuss it.
So I move to take item number 8C off the consent agenda.
Second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
All right. Kenny?
Thank you, Town Manager, for making that accommodation, council members. My name's Kenny Burke. I'm one member of the Healthy Places by Design Bike and Walk Subcommittee. I've been with this group for about a year now, and forgive me, I do actively bike and walk, so this is why I'm dressed the way I am. We actually have several committee members here with us today. Rep. Tansey is here, Amy Reiner, Susan Marcus is here as well. So you've received, I believe it's our second quarterly report. I did want to make reference to the fact that we did apply for this bikeable community status. It's a national status. We are now one of 3 communities in Rhode Island that has this status. We have an honorable mention categorization. So as you can see in this agenda, we'd like to work with your traffic commission to address some of the recommendations that came out as a result of that report. It is directly relevant to some of the residents' concerns as they're looking at new development. We know there's tremendous opportunity in South Kingstown with our existing infrastructure, the bike path, and with the handful of developments that are going to come forward to really get people out of their cars to bike, to walk. And if you were anywhere around Peacedale a few days ago, you would have noticed that we had a great event. I believe it's the town's first Cyclovia. We had about 2,000 people actually descend into the village. Great partnership with the police department, town staff. People had a great time. There's very healthy snacks, atmosphere, exercising. And to that point, without belaboring it too much, we have Dr. Darius Kosheva here as well. And if, Doctor, you could come up, you might just give a few words regarding the benefits of this type of program.
Hello. My name is Darius Kosheva. I'm the chairman of the Family Medicine Department at South County Hospital. And on behalf of my department, I just wanted to express support for the Healthy Places by Design and the work they've been doing. In particular, the recommendations that they might be setting forth by the League of American Bicyclists, which I looked through right before coming here, and I find every single point taking from that would be useful for our community. Just very quickly going through a few points, I'll be quick. I think there is plenty of data supporting communities with high density of trails, whether it's for biking or walking, and having those communities with higher property values, attracting businesses, and increasing local tax revenue. Me as physician, I'm definitely more attracted to how it promotes wellness within our community, and certainly within our state. I'm sure you've all heard the statistics on obesity. 27% of adults in our state are considered obese. 1 out of 10 has diabetes. 1 out of 3 has hypertension. We're certainly doing our best as physicians here, and I spent a lot of time trying to explain to my patients to eat well and to exercise more. The infrastructure that we have to promote wellness in South County, while it's improving, it's not where it needs to be. You know, I certainly get a reminder of that every time I go to Eastern or Western Europe, you know, how things change there, and we're lagging behind here. We're making progress, don't get me wrong, and it's such a beautiful place. I love living in South County, but the one thing that's really missing is the fact I live in the Southwoods development. There is no way for me to bike to the bike path. I have to take a car. There is no way for me to bike to any of the businesses in South County. I have to take a car. That's really not, you know, helpful if you're promoting, you know, increased activity for patients or for myself, for my family. So, you know, if we build it, they will come. I think, you know, some of the projects that Healthy Places by Design, some specific projects, you know, sound really good. They are doable. I believe if we have a master plan for developing something in South County, it will happen. But without your full commitment to it, it's just not going to happen. And we're just going to have these nice conversations. You know, I've been to Healthy Places by Design's meetings, and they have great plans, but they need some support. You know, and you know, while I can speak on behalf only of the Family Medicine Department, I know that the administration within South County Hospital is interested too. I've had conversations with them. Other departments are interested as well. So the hospital, I know, will be behind it if we have a master plan for developing something. And I hope we can think big, because we need something big to change the infrastructure here. And I know these projects are not cheap, but you know, keeping your employees and citizens healthy, I think it's priceless. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Steve, we have a transportation element, obviously, of our comprehensive plan. Would that be considered our master plan for circulation, or?
Yes, and we forwarded the report that was provided to the Transportation Committee. They'll be reviewing that as far as some of the recommendations that have been made, and Public Works is looking at it as well. So hopefully there can be more discussion on those, and we can move forward with several of them that will improve safety.
Is there any update on, this just comes to mind, the bike spur up to URI? Has DOT gotten back to us since that last meeting we had?
No, I haven't gotten anything new from them since we gave the approval on the new pathway itself. Vin, I'm not sure whether you've heard anything.
That bike path was also endorsed by the school committee, so URI, school committee, and the town council have provided endorsements. I think the next thing that would likely happen is it would be reclassified in the forthcoming tip from the study and development to the actual design of specifications, and so, you know, that was a good step, but these projects do take they have a long germination period, unfortunately, but it is moving forward, and I think you know, people are excited about it because it will be a nice connection to the university, a good connection to West Kingston Elementary School as well.
I think the main concern still is the federal dollar availability.
Right.
As long as there's continuing resolutions on the federal highway program, the planning becomes more difficult for the state with the transportation plan.
And something more local, the path up to South County Commons, is that?
There's no money for that at all, other than if we use town funds. We're looking at, that cost is probably in the area of $600,000 if there was a paved surface up there. If we did just the property that belongs to the town, it'd probably about half that, because 50% of it's on the private property and 50%. One of the things we had looked at is we had grant funding availability. That dried up. If there is new monies available for recreation, certainly that's a high target item.
Okay.
It's important to note that even without the pavement in place, the pathway exists, and a good deal of it is used as a walking path with many of our seniors from the senior center.
Thank you. And I was going to say it in the comments section of the night, but I wanted to thank everybody who was involved with the block party in Peacedale. I think a lot of the folks up here this evening did make it out. Kenny, Amy, I think a lot of the Healthy Places by Design folks, and PDNRI. It was a fantastic event, so thank you very much.
That was amazing.
Good job.
Great event I took both my grandkids. They had a great time. It was really nice to see all the excitement down there in Peacedale. So thank you for your hard work.
So since you did take it off the consent agenda, you need a motion, as it states, to place on file and refer to the Transportation Traffic Review Committee.
Do I hear such a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. All right, now, item 8E, a communication dated September 2nd, 2015, from Stephen Pinch, Deputy Chief of the Union Fire District, inviting council members to attend the annual Firefighters Memorial Ceremony and Parade on Sunday, September 27th, 2015. It's been placed on file. What do we want to do with it?
I think most of us are going to be able to be there, I believe, all of us. I'm really excited for it. I think it's fantastic. I do know we have an Eagle Scout event that same day that hopefully at least a couple of us will be able to do both. So it'll be an exciting day. I make a motion to approve item number 8E.
Second?
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. And now we're at item 9, which is comments from interested citizens. So this is the opportunity for anybody in the audience to come up and tell us about what they feel we should be doing. Since there's a lot of people in the crowd and in the interest of time, I'm going to ask people to keep it to 5 minutes. So state your name into the microphone, tell us where you're from, and go ahead.
Hi, my name is Dr. Robin Potier, and back at the review period of the South County Country Club, I served as president of the Perryville Preservation Association. During that time, we had commissioned a turf management specialist from Cornell University, Marty Petrovic, and he reviewed the turf management plan that had been submitted with that proposal and explained to us how that completely wouldn't work. He did come in to present that in front of the planning board one night. One of the members of the planning board complained that since he wasn't from Rhode Island, his comment wasn't credible. But I would like to reiterate to the town that our well water is at risk, and it's got to be someone's responsibility to help us out and protect us. We worked hard to protect ourselves against this development then, and we hope that you will work hard with us now. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Kevin Gilmore. I live at 553 Shinnick Road. I just want to share with you a quick anecdote. I appreciate anecdotes. I appreciate in 1977, 38 years ago, you mentioned that the gravelly road was a cart path, I think you said. It's actually returned to a cart path almost at this point with the potholes. But that's not my anecdote. My anecdote is 4 years ago, we decided on Shinnick Road as a place to start our family, become good citizens, become good neighbors. The day of our closing, we were going for a USDA loan, and the process of getting a USDA loan through Rhode Island Housing as a first-time home buyer, it's based on the area that we live, which is a rural place. We were on our way to the signing, and we got a call that said that they couldn't put the loan through. The mortgage was shot. sorry. And the reason for that was that a 5-foot easement was granted to the town of South Kingstown, and that easement was to protect the rural aspect of Shinnick Road. So if you kind of think of that, these two things were parallel. They were both trying to do the same thing. So we came to the city planner, and he was able to help us out and connect those dots, and the loan went through. So from your perspective, in 1977, you know, we're on the other side of that. We're the new citizens with kids going to Matutic Elementary School, and we picked a place that we thought was rural. We got a rural loan. There's an easement on our property to protect the rural aspect of our road. In fact, we have a shared driveway. We actually built a fence along the front of our yard because we have no protection from the traffic that exists on Shinnick Road. So you can imagine we go on a family vacation knowing that we can't build our own driveway on Shinnick Road because we'd be cutting into the rural aspect of Shinnick Road. So you can just imagine coming home from family vacation and there's a brand new road that has been just bulldozed at basically the bottom of our driveway. Now I know it's 1,100 feet from the entrance, but 1,100 feet is not that far, especially when you have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and that road is simply unusable to have my kids learn how to ride a bike. It's unusable. So I just wanted to provide that anecdote to sort of illustrate the lack of transparency of you come home after a week vacation and here's this 300-acre development, and no one's been notified. So, thank you.
Hi, my name's Doreen Dunham. I'm at 459 Gravelly Hill Road. My property abuts what I found out, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days ago. It's going to abut the golf course. It's going to be in my backyard. My well is right there on the border of my property. I already have a compromised immune system with MS. I can't move anywhere else other than where I am right now and still live in town. I love South Kingstown. I really like where I am. I bought in August of 1998. Now, I don't know when these permits went through. Apparently, it was a little bit previous to August because I was never notified that this was happening in my backyard. I knew about the Tuckatown development on the other side, but it was far enough away, it wasn't going to infringe on my quality of life. Well, now it is, and I can't tell you how disappointed I was to hear tonight that nobody, it was just oh well, can't do anything about it. I'm very disappointed that I don't have the support from you people that I have given you over these years. Because I do come out and vote for all of you every time the elections come up. I'm very happy with most all of the things that happen in town, but I feel like I've been left out to just hung out to dry by you people. I don't like that feeling too much. And I hope that we can get this resolved, but really, we can't just walk away from here with a, oh well. That's unacceptable. I mean, if we need to go to the state, let me know. I just need to have answers about what's going to happen to the quality of my life. I live where I live. I don't have other options. Help me. That's all I'm asking. Help me.
Thank you.
I want to, just reemphasize that, we'll do what's in our power, but it is not much. I think going to the state, they're not in session right now. They're not honestly likely to change what they've done or to be able to do that. And, I think we empathize. We'll see what we can do about getting that meeting. I think a lot of you might be here to talk about this issue. If you have a new thing that you think we can take action on, I definitely encourage you to come to talk. I'm not a person who wants to silence people who want to speak at a public meeting. I've spent too many years of my life trying to get people to go to public meetings and talk. But, I wouldn't, it's getting late now. If you want to speak up and tell us something new, please do.
I just have one little comment, and it's something that can be fixed today. On Gravelly Hill, the traffic is terrible. I come out of my driveway. I live at 429. I'm at the top of the hill. Every day, a car comes speeding by and almost totals my car. There needs to be some sort of traffic signs and things put up on the road, say slow children, blind driveways, because if you're going to add a new community, we're going to have a tragedy. Thank you. Richard Miller.
Jim O'Neill, Matunic. I really wish you would take to heart the people that live on Gravelly Hill in Shannock. I'm in the real estate business. I know how dangerous those roads are. The people that live there, you guys have no idea what it's like 8, 12 times a day, in and out, going back and forth. You just have no idea how dangerous those roads are. I fought this thing back in the late 90s and early 2000s for obvious reasons. Every other development, you have to subtract out wetlands and ponds and lakes. This one, you don't. Is this for real? Incredible. You had expert witnesses hired by citizens. The citizens, the folks on Gravelly and Shannock, didn't want this. Perryville Preservation Society, no one wanted this. We were bulldozed. We couldn't compete with that power. And yes, money, court power. But what I've warned this council about before, many times in previous councils, and even Mr. Alfred has warned you, this tolling is just another example of the state of Rhode Island taking our constitutional granted rights away from us. And I don't know why you don't understand that. Because soon, and I've told you this before, we won't need a council, we won't need a planning board, and we won't need a zoning board. Whatever's on the books, that's it, whatever the state decides. This is why you have to stand up and speak. Mr. Alfred said he'll put a meeting together. I appreciate that. But you have more power than you think. You should order it. And the other thing is, if this density has increased, the court case had it at 285 or 303. Well, things have changed. Maybe the planning board should look at this again. But if you look at this plan, if you have any concern about habitat on the environment, and if you look how this thing is stretched out from Gravelly Hill Road to the village of Tucker, called now Village of Warden Pond, excuse me, it is a crime against nature. It breaks a wall of China. Breaks that habitat, environment, flow, animal, wildlife, air, everything. This town doesn't care about that? Now imagine, you understand climate change, rising seas, suppose this thing was underwater. Does the tolling grant that? Have you had to toll the comprehensive plan review every 5 years because these people in Providence are telling us what to do? No, you don't. That's why you have power here, because you have to stop this. Because otherwise, they should toll our comprehensive plan, give our planning board a break so they don't have to look at this every 5 years. You have power. You need to exercise it. You really, really do. Public safety, without question, is an absolute disaster. A disaster. Your job is public safety. Demand that developer come here. If he doesn't, take out a suit if you have to get the changes. He's vested. We know he's vested with a lot, but I have to disagree on the density issues here. I think that is done wrongly. So just asking you guys, you have more power than you think. Stop the state from taking over what is going on in this community. We have smart enough people in our boards. You guys are smart enough. But this has to stop, this takeover by the state of Rhode Island. And you know, the lady referred to it earlier, the Builders Association, and you know who runs that, and you know whose benefit this was for. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Craig Jackson. I live on 41 Mockingbird Lane, which abuts Shannock Road. We moved here in 1999, previously lived on Situate on Old Plainfield Pike, which was Route 14A. We were raising our family there, and unfortunately the traffic began to get worse and worse as a connection between 102 and down to Route 12 into Providence and beyond. We wanted to move to an area that was more rural, that didn't have the traffic problems that we had with our previous house, hence we chose where we are today. It was always my understanding that this village, or the program that's in place now, was going to be exiting or as an extension to the Tucker Village. And obviously that's changed since then. I was not aware of this till just recently. Obviously the road is there now. It's kind of in hindsight. But I have a landowner and obviously being in the area, I'm very concerned about the amount of traffic we're going to have, what's going to happen going forward to our local small community where we are. So I would please ask you to consider that, hopefully maybe open up the other extension. I just can't imagine all of the traffic coming out where they are now. If they're going to be going to Wakefield, it's coming way down this way and then back up. If both entrances were available, at least that would give the people the opportunity to go to Wakefield one way, people going westerly or south the other way. I think it would at least lighten the load a little bit. Thank you.
Good evening, Teresa Tanzi, 57 Hillcrest Road, and I am one of the state representatives that was in office at the time that the tolling was presented. To the best of my recollection, I don't recall having received anything from the town asking me to not support tolling. And I'm happy to have someone remind me if there was. I know that Mr. O'Neill has a very loud and boisterous voice, but I don't recall having heard it when it came time for the tolling. I happened to sit on a committee that heard the testimony for tolling, and it was very compelling. We had the owner of the Ocean House come up and tell us about all the work that he's done and how committed he is to seeing that beautiful oceanfront hotel renovated, and what a boon to the economy it would be if we would extend the tolling. And again, to the best of my recollection, I didn't hear anyone talking against tolling. It's clear tonight, that was in 2011, 4 years later, that now we're starting to understand what that is, the repercussions of having voted for that. I reluctantly voted for it the last time, and I also let leadership know that this would be the last time, that projects that were approved that long ago need to be reviewed. And I think that the economy, though it is not fully recovered, it's time to find that balance where we don't just rubber stamp and allow those to go through. So I wanted to come forward. You know, we do our best. We certainly communicate with the town. We understand the interests. We meet with the town council at least once a year and understand what your priorities are. And then we do our best to advocate at the state level. So that was one thing that I wanted to talk about. And as far as changes go, I don't know that we can change anything. I'm not the lawyer in the room, but I'm guessing that we couldn't go back and retroactively make those changes and you know, affect current things. Last time I got up and spoke, I was quoted in the paper afterwards, and it was misstated. I advocated for a bus shelter to be installed in Peacedale, and I said it would be less than $10,000, and it was printed in the paper as $110,000. So I just want to say I'm not advocating for any bus shelters that are $110,000 in cost, but the one that I was advocating for is a matching grant where the town would be responsible for up to $10,000 of it. And I am still heavily in favor of that. I think it's a tremendous asset to our community. It's not just the typical bus shelter that people, see in front of Narragansett Town Beach, for example, or in front of the mall in Wakefield. But this is actually an art-inspired bus shelter that the community has feedback into, and they're brought into, and a committee is brought together. Local artists are engaged to create something that's a reflection of the community, and perhaps some of you have seen them throughout the state, and they are quite beautiful. And then just one other thing. In regard to the Healthy Places by Design, we do meet regularly at least once a month, and I am meeting tomorrow with DOT to discuss a grant. I'm going to put in a grant application and work with them, and hopefully with all of you, to advocate for a new piece of equipment to be purchased so that we could more effectively do the streets. The pavements, I guess, where the sidewalks, so that people can pass through during the winter time. It was an unbelievably difficult winter on every level. I know many businesses and many people in the community suffered as a result, and I would love to find a way for the town to support the businesses as well as the people who live and walk in the downtown area to access those businesses. And for those who are wondering, I spoke with Chief Vespia just now, and that item, the recommendations from the bicycle-friendly community, that has been added to the agenda already for them, and that meeting is going to be this Thursday. So I am going to do my best to be there, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ella Whaley. I just have maybe some food for thought. With the village study programs in Matunic, I don't know if any of those recommendations can then be attributed to some of the concerns brought forward tonight with Gravelly Hill and Shannick Road. So we are a piece of Matunic, and we do have the Matunic Village Study Project with community input and a lot of recommendations, and maybe we can attribute some of that to the concerns that we've heard tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public at this time? Any comments from the council? All right.
Can I talk about a couple of these things?
Yes.
I just have a few points of interest. I believe Lisa Wright's already left. She was here earlier. From the Johnny Cake Center, they held their event this past Friday night, Breaking the Waves of Hunger, and it was a huge event for the Johnny Cake Center, held at the Dunes Club this past Friday night. Sold out attendance, and I was fortunate enough to be there and was very, very happy to support it and see the support from this community for that organization. So thank you to everyone that attended that and for everyone that put so much hard work into putting that together. And also this next Saturday night, Saturday the 19th, our VFW Post 916 will be hosting a spaghetti supper at 6 o'clock. Tickets are $10 a person. You can certainly buy them at the door or see any members of the Ladies Auxiliary or our VFW. And I encourage anyone that's never been there to come check it out. It's right on High Street, and we are always happy to have new faces come on in and show your support, so thank you.
Thank you.
All I have.
All right. With that, I think we move on to the town manager's report.
Nothing outside of the issues we've already discussed this evening in the pre-session or during the meeting itself. Be glad to answer any questions on the 3 reports that have been presented subsequent to the last meeting.
Any questions? All right. And the town solicitor.
I'm also all set unless there are questions from the council about anything.
I think you're good. Item 12 is appointments. We have a few to make tonight.
I'll make a motion to, resolution to appoint Paul Sherman to the Building Code Minimum Housing Code Board of Appeals.
Second?
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
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 It should be noted that term ends June of 2019.
Very good.
Economic?
Boards, there's 2 separate boards. One would be Minimum Housing Board of Appeals, and the second is the Building Code. And we'll put it
Right.
through that way.
What's that? I would like to make a motion. There's a vacancy on the Economic Development Committee, and we interviewed Henry H. Thayer III. I would like to make a motion to accept him onto the Economic Development Committee for a term that expires March of 2016.
Second.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
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 And that, congratulations to Henry. He carries unanimously.
Under item 12A, I'd like to address the position of the probate court judge. I personally, before I start the motion, have to say I have the utmost respect for the current sitting probate court judge, Merlin O'Keefe. He has done a wonderful job, and he does keep the interests of our town at the forefront of what he does in serving in his capacity. On that note, Merlin has expressed some interest in retiring in the future to spend more time with his wife, who recently retired. So we, as the council, had started a search process, an interview process, so that when Merlin decides his tenure is up, we would have somebody that was ready to fill the gates. So item 12A, I make a resolution appointing James P. Howe, probate court judge, contingent upon the resignation that we will be receiving in the near future from Mr. Merlin O'Keefe. I anticipate that that will be in the next couple of months, so we'd like to move that out until November of this year.
Do we hear a second?
Second that?
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
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 And that motion carries unanimously. That resolution. Item 13, under new business, is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to East Coast Seal Coating, 766 Adams Street, for crack repair and resurfacing of tennis and basketball courts at Green Hill Park, tennis courts at West Kingston Park, and the basketball court at Saugatucket Park, in accordance with all bid specifications and an amount not to exceed $38,500, including a contingency fund of $830, as further described in a memorandum from the Leisure Services Director to the Town Manager dated September 1st.
2 bidders submitted proposals, recommendations to go with East Coast Seal Coating, whose price was the least of the 2.
Any questions?
I make a motion that we approve item 13A as stated on the agenda.
I second that.
So moved. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. Item 13E is a resolution authorizing an award of contract to Competitive Energy Services, LLC, for solar energy consulting services in an amount not to exceed $12,000, including a $2,000 contingency, as further described in a memorandum from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager dated September 8th.
As noted in John Schock's memorandum on this subject, our recommendation is an award of contract with the consultant of record for the University of Rhode Island that's dealing with all of their energy needs. And this would be so that we would look at the installation, potential installation of solar panels at the 2 closed-out landfills, as well as URI's disposal site. We would work with that consultant to be able to put an RFP together so that we could then look at both the manner in which the energy that would be produced through the solar installations would be sold, as well as looking to have greater economy of scale by having the 3 sites considered as a common project. The cost at $10,000 is the cost that Narragansett and South Kingstown would share, or $5,000 from each of the communities. As I noted in the reviews earlier this evening, because those are Superfund sites, we have to be extremely careful on how we approach the sites as far as beneficial reuse, and also on how the revenue stream would work, both in terms of the sale of energy and on the receipt of the revenues, with both the state being a participant and the 2 towns. We think that this consultant, CES, with that solar contract can provide us with the foundation for the request for proposals so that we can give all of the different energy companies that have submitted statements of interest to us a level playing field to be able to present proposals. I'd request council consideration and approval as presented on tonight's agenda.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve item 13E as stated on tonight's agenda.
I second that.
So moved. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. 13F is a resolution authorizing an award of contract to R.E. Erickson of 595 Providence Highway in Walpole, Mass. For Water Division SCADA improvements in an amount not to exceed $17,956, including a $3,000 contingency, and is further described in a memorandum from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager, September 9th.
As part of the 2014-15 capital improvement program, there was an item for providing for a disinfection system and a remote control for the equipment that would be placed in the disinfection system at the Green Hill water tank. The council appropriated $80,000 for that purpose. At the 2 meetings, last meeting, we approved the construction of or installation of a concrete building. Now we're looking at the proprietary equipment that would be placed inside to control the disinfection system that's necessary. We did not solicit specific proposals. This was proprietary software that is necessary. Within the $80,000, we've spent $48,000 on the building. We'll pay approximately the $18,000 here, and then we'll also have installation costs. We'll be doing a lot of the installation in-house. Recommend council approval as presented in the agenda this evening.
Motion to approve agenda item 13F.
Second.
So moved. Any further discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that carries unanimously. Item 13G is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to the Business Network Group of 935 Jefferson Boulevard in Warwick for the town fiber ring network equipment project in an amount not to exceed $111,726, including a $3,000 contingency, and is further described in a memorandum from the Information Technology Director to the Town Manager, dated September 10th.
The overall proposal, we reviewed 2 company submittals. What this would do is to provide us with the necessary equipment for the fiber optic ring that will tie in all of the fiber that's been strung on each of the poles around the community to take each of the municipal departments, from Town Hall, the Guild, the Animal Shelter, the Public Services Building, Senior Center, and so forth. We also need to deal with upgrades on the public safety local area network, and that'll involve the development of a new security system firewall, as well as the necessary switching equipment that's necessary. Once the proposals were received from the two vendors, there was a review made to make sure that we were comparing each of the different equipment presentations as being equals. The lowest qualified bidder is the TBGN. Recommendation is to award, contract value was $108,725, with another $3,000 contingency, bringing up to the $111,726. Funding sources for this will come from several sources, one through the computer technology account, the second through the public safety, computer safety. So we will use those to be able to purchase that equipment to bring the networks up to a proper standard. Recommend approval as presented.
Motion to approve agenda item 13G.
Second.
So moved. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. And it completes our regular agenda tonight.
I make a motion to close the public hearing, go to executive session. A closed executive session pursuant to RIGL 42-46-5A2 to discuss matters pertaining to litigation, reason Hang 10 LLC and Town of South Kingstown.
Aye.
Council Vice President Healy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Clow.
Aye.
Councilman Veely.
Aye.
Unanimous affirmative vote to recess to close executive session at 9:10.
Yes. Thank you, folks. This is a closed session, so you actually have